A Clockwork Orange is a 1971 dystopian crime film adapted, produced, and directed by Stanley Kubrick, based on Anthony Burgess's 1962 novel of the same name. It employs disturbing, violent images to comment on psychiatry, juvenile delinquency, youth gangs, and other social, political, and economic subjects in a dystopian near-future Britain. Plot: in a futuristic Britain, London, Alex DeLarge played by Malcolm McDowell and his drugs, Georgie played by James Marcus, Dim played by Warren Clark, and Pete played by Michael Tarn, are seated in the Korova milk bar stoned on milk laced with narcotics. The gang leaves the Korova milk bar for a night of ultraviolence. They encounter a drunkard played by Paul Farrell in an underpass, and beat him. Later, they arrive at a derelict theater, where they find another gang, led by a rival named Billy Boy. Two gangs battle it out. Alex and his drugs are victorious. The group next head out into the dark countryside with stolen Durango 95 sports car. Alex suggests making a surprise visit and they stop at a lonely country house. Alex tricks his way into the house by claiming to be the victim of a car accident. They beat the homeowner, a writer named Frank Alexander played by Patrick McGee, and gang rape his wife played by Adrienne Corey while Alex croons "Singin' in the Rain." In the morning, Alex's mother played by Sheila Rayner tries to wake Alex for school, but he feigns illness. At the breakfast table she discusses the situation with his father played by Philip Stone. When Alex later awakens and wanders about the apartment in his underwear he encounters his probation officer, Mr. Deltoid played by Aubrey Morris. The officer lectures Alex about his school truancy and threatens him with jail. After Deltoid leaves, Alex begins another busy day. He picks up two girls at a local shopping mall record store and brings them home for sex. Later that day, Alex encounters his drugs. They ominously tell him that they've been talking, they are not happy with situation. Georgie proposes an idea to make lots more money. He wants to rob a rich lady who owns a health farm in the country. Alex perceives Georgie's independent thinking as a threat. Alex asserts his authority by attacking them. Having re-established his dominance of the group, Alex reconsiders Georgie's idea. Arriving at the health farm that evening, the drugs try the same trick they'd used at Alexander's house previously. However, the proprietress played by Miriam Carlin is suspicious and calls the police. When the boys aren't let into the house, Alex climbs up a drain pipe, enters a second-floor window, and confronts the homeowner. Alex bludgeons her with a huge plastic phallus sculpture. On hearing sirens, Alex tries to flee, but Dim smashes a bottle in his face, stunning Alex and leaving him to be arrested. Deltoid brings word that the woman has died of her injuries, and Alex is convicted of murder and sentenced to 14 years in prison. 2 years later, Alex is shown scheming to get favors by feigning piety. He helps the prison chaplain played by Godfrey Quigley with his service and he studies the Bible. Alex tells the chaplain that he's heard of a new treatment, the so-called Ludovico technique, that helps criminals get out of prison. The chaplain says that he's not sure it's right for Alex. When the government's interior minister played by Anthony Sharp visits the prison, Alex makes a show of himself and the minister picks Alex as a perfect Ludovico subject. The Ludovico technique, an experimental aversion therapy for rehabilitating criminals within 2 weeks. Alex is strapped to a chair, his eyes are clamped open, and he is injected with drugs. He is then forced to watch films of sex and violence, some of which are accompanied by the music of his favorite composer, Ludwig van Beethoven. Alex becomes nauseated by the films and, fearing the technique will make him sick upon hearing Beethoven, begs for an end to the treatment. 2 weeks later, the minister demonstrates Alex's rehabilitation to a gathering of officials. Alex is unable to fight back against an actor who taunts and attacks him and becomes ill wanting sex with a topless woman. The prison chaplain complains that Alex has been robbed of his free will. The minister asserts that the Ludovico technique will cut crime and alleviate crowding in prisons. Alex is released from prison, only to find that the police have sold his possessions to provide compensation to his victims and his parents have let out his room to Joe played by Clive Francis. Alex later stares at the Thames River below a bridge. He's approached by a bum seeking spare change. Taking a closer look, the bum recognizes Alex as the same malchick who beat him under the bridge 2 years earlier. A bum and his friends attack him. Alex is saved by 2 policemen but is shocked to find they are his former drugs Dim and Georgie. They handcuff Alex, drive him out of town, beat him, and nearly drown him before abandoning him. Alex staggers to the first house he can find. He barely makes it to the doorstep of a nearby home before collapsing. Alex wakes up to find himself in the home of Alexander, who is now using a wheelchair, with Julian, played by David Prowse, his muscular attendant. Alexander does not recognize Alex from the previous attack, because Alex and his druggies wore masks back in those days. Alexander knows of him and the Ludovico technique from the newspapers. He sees Alex as a political weapon and prepares to present him to his colleagues. While taking a bath, Alex breaks into "Singin' in the Rain," which makes Alexander realize that Alex was the person who abused his wife and him. Later, at the dinner table, an obviously distraught Alexander encourages Alex to eat and drink. After eating for a while, Alex passes out, face down, on a plate of spaghetti. With the help of his colleagues, they drugged Alex and locked him in an upstairs bedroom. They know Alex can't listen to Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, so they play it loud from the floor below. As Alexander beams with satisfaction, Alex is driven to suicide. He leaps from the second-floor window to the stone patio below. Alex survives the attempt and wakes up in hospital with multiple injuries. While being given a series of psychological tests, he finds that he no longer has aversions to violence and sex. The minister arrives and apologizes to Alex. He offers to take care of Alex and get him a job in return for his cooperation with his election campaign and public relations counteroffensive. As a sign of goodwill, the minister brings in a stereo system playing Beethoven's Ninth. Alex then contemplates violence and has vivid thoughts of having sex with a woman in front of an approving crowd, thinking to himself, "I was cured, all right." About the film. The film A Clockwork Orange is directed by Stanley Kubrick. The screenplay was written by Kubrick himself, based on the novel of the same name by Anthony Burgess. The novel explores themes of violence, free will, and societal control. The film's casting choices, particularly Malcolm McDowell's portrayal of Alex, received critical acclaim for their ability to capture the dark and complex nature of the characters. The performances contributed to the film's enduring impact and recognition. Other cast members included Patrick Magee, Michael Bates, Warren Clark, James Marcus, Aubrey Morris, and Godfrey Quigley. The filming of A Clockwork Orange took place in various locations in England. Director Stanley Kubrick chose to shoot the film primarily in and around London, capturing both the gritty urban settings and the iconic landmarks of the city. The production of the film was known for Kubrick's meticulous attention to detail and his distinct visual style. He employed innovative techniques and creative set designs to bring the dystopian world of A Clockwork Orange to life. The music and soundtrack of A Clockwork Orange played a crucial role in creating the atmosphere of the film. The score featured a mix of classical music compositions, including works by Ludwig van Beethoven, Gioacchino Rossini, and Edward Elgar. These classical pieces were reinterpreted and arranged by composer Wendy Carlos, who also incorporated synthesizers into the music to enhance the futuristic and unsettling tone of the film. A Clockwork Orange was released on December 19, 1971, in the United States. In terms of investment and box office performance, the film had a budget of approximately $2.2 million. It went on to become a commercial success, grossing over $26 million worldwide. The critical reception of A Clockwork Orange was mixed upon its initial release. While the film garnered praise for its bold and provocative themes, it also faced controversy and censorship due to its explicit content and depiction of violence. Despite this, the film received several accolades and nominations, including 4 Academy Award nominations. The legacy of A Clockwork Orange is significant. The film has had a lasting impact on popular culture and is regarded as a classic of dystopian cinema. Its themes of free will, morality, and the dangers of societal control continue to resonate with audiences. 10 interesting facts about A Clockwork Orange movie. 1. Before the movie was put out on general release, Stanley Kubrick personally edited the film further. He did this to make A Clockwork Orange less violent. 2. Although the car used by Alex and the drugs was called a Durango 95 in the film, it is, in reality, the Adams Probe 16, one of 3 ever made. 3. To film Alex's suicide attempt from his own perspective, a Newman Sinclair camera enclosed in a custom-built plastic box was thrown off a building 6 times until it finally landed pointing downwards. 4. Alex performing Singing in the Rain as he attacks the writer and his wife was not scripted. 5. Stanley Kubrick was afraid theater owners would edit the movie. So every week, the reels would be exchanged for a clean, inspected copy. 6. The film was banned in the UK by Stanley Kubrick himself. The film unavailable for public viewing in the UK from 1973 until 2000, the year after Stanley Kubrick's death. 7. The first cut of the movie was almost 4 hours long. 8. Malcolm McDowell scratched his cornea while filming the Ludovico technique scene. 9. Malcolm McDowell was delighted that Kubrick couldn't shout "cut" during the threesome scene until it was over. The sped-up scene is 28 minutes long. 10. The ending of the novel is very different from the film. In the film, Alex starts to go back to his menacing ways. In the novel, he genuinely wants to be a good person, to get a wife, and stop being a menace to society.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more interesting videos and don't forget to press like button and share.